Hello guys, welcome back to a new video. So today I wanted to share with you something that I have noticed in the past, I would say 3 weeks, but we can go all the way to a month. Um, and I believe this is really weird. Like, I don't know how to interpret it, alright? This is why I'm making this video, to know your opinions about it. And this is something about the market, of course. And is it changing, or is it just a normal cycle? And of course, the behavior of the market is not going to change. It's always expanding in a direction, or it is ranging, right? The expansion can be like a trending to the upside, or it can be a pullback, it can be a reversal, whatever, right? So the basic movements are still the same, but the when is a bit different in the past month. And I have a lot of screenshots. I'm gonna show it to you guys. I believe that you have noticed this too, so let's stop talking mystery and show you what I noticed. So what I noticed in for the past month is this. Can you see this range right here? Normal, right? We have a range, and then we have another range. Now from a higher view, it looks completely normal. The market traded to the downside here. It took some lows, and then we are trading to the upside. This is a trend. I don't want to talk in specific details about my perspective of trading, or in trading, the concept that I use. I want to talk in general, because this is something that I would say all traders from any style have noticed this. So from a higher point of view, this looks completely normal. Alright, the direction for today, bullish, and a lot of traders were also bullish. But again, these ranges right here is what I have noticed. These ranges are happening at 10 a.m. New York session, 10:30. It can go all the way to 12 p.m. Alright, from New York session. And then we have another range here. Sometimes it is one single range. Here we have two ranges, but you can see that these ranges are not big. All right, not like a profile. ICT traders would call it seek and destroy. No, this is a tight range. This reflects low volatility, and during this time is extremely weird. All right, because during this time usually we have explosive movements. All right, this is 10 a.m. from New York session again. And from my backtesting and from my years in live trading, this is new to me. All right, and I do a lot of backtesting, usually around 10 a.m., 10:30. In other words, around this time in the AM session from New York, we have a lot of volatility, right? And this is not just from today. All right, this is happening for some weeks now, and I have screenshots. Of course, not every day, but the frequency is high right now. All right, and I believe maybe you have noticed this too. Maybe you got cooked in here, right? I got cooked today. I took two losses. I took a partial loss in this range here, although I know the direction, and this is not about my losses. All right, my two losses here is irrelevant. But I wanted to make this video last week, and I said let me wait and see how Monday looks like. And again, the same, right? And I took another trade here in this range. Both long positions, both stopped out. But let me show you the screenshots and show you how that looks like for the past weeks. All right, so this is from today. All right, and you can see that I took the screenshot before the move to here. Let me show you from the past days. So you can see that this is around 10 a.m. right, around this time, and you can see the range here, right? This is low volatility, and then we have those explosive movements. All right, So this ended around 12 p.m. So at the market open, equity open all the way to 12 p.m. It was a range, low volatility in general. Here another one, you can see another tight range, and you might see that this is an uptrend, but I want you to notice the size of the candles here and here after the box ends here. I want you to compare the size of the candle. You can see how small these candles are. These are low volatility conditions, all right? And again, around this time is very weird, all right? Let me show you another one. All right, for example, this day, this is how usually New York AM session looks like, all right? Just a sudden move to the upside, explosive, or the downside, whatever. Maybe we have a range, but like a large range, not small candle ranges. This is how most days of the month looks like on NQ. This like this, all right? And this is the previous day. We have another tight range. You can see here, see the sizes. Now you can see that we have a range here in the Asian session, and it is pretty much the same size as the range in New York session and overlap between London and New York. And again, this is very weird. All right. I have another range at 10 a.m. all the way to 12 p.m. Right, you can see here. Now in this case, you might say that after a big an expansion move like this, we usually see ranges, of course, but we have another range here, right? This is I'm moving day by day, all right? You can see the date here, all right? Another range. Here we don't have a range, all right? And then another range. Now, of course, ranges are a very normal cycle of the market, all right? Normal behavior. But the timing of the ranges is what changed in the past month. All right, let me go through the screenshots quickly. We have another range right here. See how just the market stops around this time. Another one right here. Another one. All right. This is not the usual AM session, and the seasoned traders can agree with me here. Another range, another one here. We have nothing here. This is a normal expansion, and this is the first week of May, I guess. We don't have a lot of ranges here. Now we have a range, right? But now if we go to the weekly time frame, we can also see that. Now, maybe this is because in April and in March, we have really high volatility. We had, I remember we had 1 minute candles that was 200 points, 300 points. 300 points in a 1 minute candle is just insane. And maybe the market just lost momentum, and we are preparing for another volatility cycle. But you can see from a weekly perspective, we are basically this week and this week we are basically at a range. We're not going anywhere, so that reflected on the 1 minute time frame and on the AM session of New York, because we usually see those expansions, those weekly expansions during New York AM session, and when we didn't have that, you can see that we have pretty much a range on the weekly, right? These two candles. We have another one here. Maybe this week we're gonna expand to these highs right here. But this is just something that I wanted to share with you. And I have seen some traders live streaming, and they were just complaining about how the market just or the volatility just suddenly dies when they take an entry around that time on the AM session, and that's their preferred session, I guess. Most traders prefer that session for its volatility, of course. Now, I really want to know your opinion about the matter. What do you think? Leave them down in the comments and I'll read every one of them. And now happy trading and good luck.